My wife and her girlfriend are moving forward. Where does that leave me? New information has surfaced, old post first. For context, hello, my name is Alex, 31 on M, and I've been married to my wife, Evie, 28F, for nearly 4 years. We've been together for 7. She has always been open about her bisexuality, which I fully embraced. We were rock solid. Looking back, I think everything shifted in 2023 when she met Kira, 30F, lesbian. At first, I was happy she had a new friend after our big move. She'd come home talking about Kira constantly, how funny she was, how talented, how much she admired her. So I even suggested we invite Kira over for dinner. The night I met Kira, I liked her. She was easy to talk to and was also quite nerdy like me. But at the time, I didn't see what was happening. After a few too many glasses of wine, the topic of threesomes came up. We laughed about it, but a few days later, Kira DM'd me, asking if I'd been serious. That's when Evie admitted she had thought about it too. Not because she wanted to replace me, but because she wanted to explore a side of herself she had never fully explored before we dated. She framed it as something we could experience together, and because I loved her, I said yes. At first, it was fine, but over time, something changed. I started to feel like an outsider in my marriage. When we had the three-ways, it always ended up just those two having sex, and I was left to sleep downstairs. Then Kira's lease ended, and Evie asked if she could temporarily move in. I hesitated but agreed because I didn't want Kira struggling. And maybe, deep down, I hoped that if I showed I was supportive, Evie would see that I was still the person she wanted to build a life with. Then in December, Evie told me she was pregnant. After years of trying, it felt like everything was falling back into place. I cried. I was so ready for this next chapter, for us to be a family, but weeks later she told me the truth. She had fallen in love with Kira. She swore she still loved me, and that our marriage was the foundation of everything. She didn't want to lose me, she just couldn't deny her feelings for Kira anymore. And in a way, I understood. She wanted us all to be a family. She wanted to make it work. She said Kira had always dreamed of being a mother and that maybe, just maybe, this could be something beautiful for all of us. Update 10/03/2025. Hey everyone, it's Alex again. It's been some time since my last post and I wanted to give an update. A lot has happened and I've had a lot to process. I appreciate everyone's thoughts, even the tough ones. Kira moved out a while ago and Evie and I have been working through things in couples therapy. When I'm not away from home, I have seen her a lot more than I have for the last few months, which is great but still the bare minimum. I still love my wife. She and Kira still see each other. They are still girlfriends, and yes, they're still intimate. That part stings, I won't lie. But I remind myself that Evie still comes home to me. I'm still her husband. She still tells me she loves me. I still have my place in her life, even if it's different now. One of the hardest parts has been the antenatal classes. She and Kira have been going together mostly. And while I wish I was the one experiencing all of that with her, I travel a lot for work and miss this kind of thing. I've only gone to one, just with her. Evie is happy, and Kira has always dreamed of being a mother too. Korea is supporting her through this. Maybe this is just something I have to accept if I want to keep the woman I love. Therapy has been helping, though. I'd be lying if I said I didn't still have doubts. Some days I feel like I can handle it. On other days, it feels unbearable. Can I live with this long term? If nothing changes, will I be happy? If Kira wants to be even more involved in the baby's life, where does that leave me? How do I get rid of Kira? However, the idea of divorce has come to my head. Story 2. So, yeah, never thought I'd be posting here, but man, I need to get this off my chest. Been with my girl for 3 years and was legit saving for a ring and everything. Then her phone starts blowing up at 2 a.m. like every night. She's all, it's just work stuff, but like, at 2 a.m.? Come on, I know everyone says don't go through your partner's phone, but whatever, I did it anyway, and holy crap, my life just exploded right there. Wasn't just one dude, 4 different guys. All these separate convos with pics I never want to see again, them planning hookups, and worst part, they were all joking about me. One was literally my best friend since we were kids. Another was her boss, classic, our freaking neighbor from down the hall, and that gay friend she was always hanging out with who, surprise, wasn't actually gay. This had been going on for like 8 months while I'm working double shifts to save for our future and stuff. When I finally confronted her, I thought she'd at least try to deny it or cry or something. Nope. She straight up laughed and was like, "Took you long enough to figure it out," said I was too predictable, and she was bored. My so-called best friend texted later saying, "It wasn't personal, and these things happen, like WTF, man." I just grabbed my stuff that night while she went out to clear her head, which probably meant hooking up with one of them TBH. It's been like 2 months now, moved to a different city, blocked all their asses, started therapy because I was messed up. Then yesterday she calls from some random number crying about how she made a huge mistake. Turns out boss dude fired her after getting what he wanted. Neighbor moved away, my ex-friend got busted by his girlfriend, and the gay friend ghosted her once he got bored. She had the nerve to ask if we could work things out. I just laughed and hung up. Some things you just can't fix, and finding out your girlfriend's been living a whole secret life with 4 other dudes? Yeah, that's definitely one of them. Story 3. I left my whole life behind without telling anyone, that including majority of my family, my friends, and my belongings. For a little context, I am F and 18 years old. It was the 13th January of 2025. I was sick and didn't go to school that day when my mother stormed into my room at 6 a.m. and was telling me to wake up. I was confused because she knew that I was sick. She told me to pack my things. That's when I realized that something is off. I asked her, "Why do I need to pack my things?" She just told me to do it. So me still half asleep, put like 2 pair of pants in a suitcase when my mother told me that we are going to the police. It would be a lie if I said that I was shocked, because I knew that she wanted at some point to flee from my extremely abusing narcissist father, with I think also a little bit of schizophrenia. But I never knew that she would really do it, especially on that day. My mother got married at 18, my father was 26, she never was allowed to work or get her driver's license. My father was extremely jealous and never let her out of the house. Their relationship was never really good, but in 2020, it got even worse when on a summer day that year, my parents had dinner at her mom's house, and my father started to act weird. He was accusing my mom of poisoning his food. When he ran out and told passersby that my mom was trying to poison him, my mother called an ambulance, and about 2 days later, he arrived at home and the whole vibe was off. Since that day, he never ate at home again. For 4 years, until something has changed in his behavior, he started to eat at home again, but only if my mother ate with him. I was happy because I thought everything was back to normal again, but I couldn't be further from the truth. Piece by piece, I found out that he was beating her on a daily basis, threatening to kill her, and accusing me, my sister, and my mother of horrible things I don't want so say. That went on for almost a year. She was almost never alone, and when she was, I told her that nobody in this house can live like this, and that she should leave him. But she stayed in the hope that he would change for the better. Coming to that day, since my mother didn't have a driver's license to drive us to the police, so she asked her parents-in-law whom lived with us and were on her side. We had to move fast because my mother had a feeling that my father would show up from work. So they drove with Bansasit. Story 4. I lied to my wife just to see her smile. For context, I, 29M, have a rather severe self-diagnosed gambling addiction. It's incredibly easy to get, but extremely hard to get over. I'm trying to be self-aware and can't sit on my hands hoping shit will change. I have to try things. Anyway, my wife, 30 RF, and I purchased me a roulette table that flips into a blackjack table. Because after tanking roughly 16K of my savings, which isn't a lot, not that we're rich, we just have no debts and are pretty good savers, we decided to do something. My gambling addiction is linked to stress that will be in my life for roughly another 11 months, so I can't get rid of the mechanism that fuels the addiction. But through trial and error, I've concluded that I'm not addicted to the win, but the chase. I couldn't care too much about the wins-loses. I love the way the chase makes me feel, so with the table my wife brought, she's created a rather interesting banking system, times to play, and a reward system. Through this, I haven't gambled real money in 37 consecutive days, and it works. Now my wife absolutely hates lying. She's incredibly bad at it. Through life itself, I'm an incredibly good liar, which she knows about, but I can count on 3 fingers. This being the third. The amount of lies I've told her in our 8-year relationship. On to my lie. She had just finished dealing for me in blackjack, and I was up around $500, so she decided she wanted to play a few hands. My God, did she have the shittest run of cards? Dealer 21. 4 hands in a row, 6 decks. Her $129 soon approached $0, and she was visually upset despite saying it was okay. I told her to withdraw $200 from my account, and anything you make over my original $200 is yours. She happily agreed, and boom, dealer wins the next 3 hands. It's all gone again. She decides to give up, but I stop her. Tell her to withdraw another $250 from my account and slam it all on one hand. She begrudgingly agrees and hits an 11 against a face-up ace. Dealer checks for BJ, no dice. It was a face-down 9. Before I could even scheme and find a way to give her money, she withdrew $250 from her account and doubles it. WTF. While she covers her face, I look at the next 2 drawable cards. 7 was the top card, and a 10 was the second. I dealt the second, obviously. She had asked for it face down because I do it so often. I flip the face down 9 and her face sinks, certain she's lost. I play into it with an obvious, no way your luck is that shit. Story 5. My family accidentally gave the number for a phone sex line to all my relatives. I just remembered a, now, funny event that happened in my family when I was a teenager. My mom, my siblings, and I worked together one winter to make a joke video to send to all my grandparents and other relatives before Christmas. This was meant to just be a humorous sort of video greeting card to make everyone laugh, rather than just a bland Merry Christmas, wish you were here. The video took the form of a fake infomercial, which advertised a ridiculous device that was supposed to make parenting easier for moms with multiple kids. The device was just a dining room turntable that was slightly modified for a person to be able to comfortably sit on top of it. In the video, my mom sat on top of the turntable and spun from child to child, sitting around the dinner table, assisting them with homework. It was goofy and hilarious, and the grandparents loved it. The problem is the phone number that was placed at the end of the infomercial. My sister was responsible for editing the video and chose a random 1-800 number to go at the end, where viewers are urged to call now. We didn't expect anybody to actually call the number, so it didn't really matter what it was. So the video was edited and sent to all the relatives. Shortly after it had been sent, my mom started thinking about it and wondered if that number actually went anywhere. She asked my sister, who explained that it was a made-up number. So, out of curiosity, my mom pulled out her phone and dialed the number just to see if it was possibly real. The phone rang and then connected. Then my mom and all the kids listened in horror as a woman in a seductive tone started describing her body in graphic, explicit detail. It was a phone sex line, and we had just sent it to our entire family. My mom freaked out in a way that I have never seen her freak before, as she immediately started contacting the grandparents to tell them not to call the number at the end of the commercial. We then re-edited the video with a number that we confirmed did not work. I hope you enjoyed these Reddit stories. Remember to like and subscribe, and come back for more.